Regular meeting number 11 will now come to order. May we please stand for the playing of the national anthem.
Let us bow our heads in prayer. Eternal and merciful God, the members of Columbus City Council ask your presence and your blessing as they meet this evening to conduct the business of our city. Our nation has been ravaged by storms, floods, and the nefarious occurrence of even more gun violence and the tragic loss of innocent life. We pray for the victims, the perpetrators, and for our country, now seeking a way to finally bring this offense to human life and human society to an end. Scripture tells us that if we live by the sword, we'll perish by the sword. In like manner, if we live by the gun, we'll continue to perish by the gun. We ask you, God, to bring both charity and sanity to our national discussion of this phenomenon so we can seek a lasting solution to this scourge. And finally, we ask you to give to the members of this council the courage to address the problems that afflict our city and our people, so that together we may establish a just and lasting peace in our great city for all of its citizens and also for your glory. Amen.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Hardin. Any person who takes any actions to obstruct or interfere with the conduct of tonight's meeting may be charged with disturbing a lawful meeting pursuant to Columbus City Code, Chapter 2317.12. Any person who enters those areas of City Council chambers reserved for city officials or invited guests may be charged with criminal trespass pursuant to Columbus City Code 2311.21.
Can I get a motion to dispense with the reading of the journal? Please call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Hardin.
This week's communications received by the City Clerk's office are listed on the agenda and will be published in the bulletin. Are there any other communications to be read into the agenda?
Yes, we have a letter addressed to the City Clerk from the Board of Elections dated February 23, 2018, stating the following. On behalf of the Franklin County Board of Elections, I hereby certify that the Board has examined the part petitions for initiated Charter Amendment City Council reform received by our office from you on February 13, 2018. The numbers of valid and invalid signatures on the part petitions for the prospective initiative are as follows. Total signatures 38,619, valid signatures 16,897. Percentage of valid signatures submitted relative to the total number of total raw signatures is 43.7%. There were also 90 invalid part petitions. The total number of voters, electors that participated in the 2017 general municipal election was 110,292. The number of electors who represent 10% of the total electors is 11,030. Please let us know if we may be of further assistance. Sincerely, Jeff Mackey, Manager, Petitions and Filings, Franklin County Board of Elections. In addition to the communications from the Board of Elections, the city clerk has forwarded to the city council the city attorney's memorandum dated February 26, 2018, regarding legal sufficiency as required by Section 42-9 of the city charter, which states the city clerk shall, upon receipt forthwith, forward to the council the elections authority's report regarding signature validation and the city attorney's findings regarding legal sufficiency.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Are there any resolutions by members of council? Councilmember Brown.
Thank you, President Harden. I am very excited to invite up a whole bunch of union members who are here tonight. So if you are here for the Janus resolution, please come on up to the microphone as I present it. Come on up. There's lots of rows of you. Thank you. So I want to highlight that we have a couple of the union leaders we have here, and then we have a lot of great folks from the membership as well. Jason Pappas, President of FOP Lodge 9, Amy Fry, Vice President of AFSCME Local 1632, Jim Black, Vice President AFSCME Local 2191, Tracy Johnson, President Columbus Education Association, Phil Hayes, Vice President Columbus Education Association, representatives from the Ohio Education Association, Susan Oler, Treasurer of CWA Local 4502, and many other officers and members and trustees. And I see Dave Montgomery of Local Firefighters 67. Many other members, as you see here. I said Pappas. And there is our littlest union member, Nala Perry, somewhere around here. She's 18 months, and this is her first introduction to the union movement, and we are very excited to have her here. So you are all here tonight, and I'm so privileged to recognize you as part of Resolution 0049X-2018 in support of working people in the case of Janus versus AFSCME, Council 31. Today, oral arguments were heard before the United States Supreme Court in the case of Janus versus AFSCME, Council 31. This case will decide whether public service workers such as nurses, teachers, police officers, and firefighters will have the freedom to collectively bargain as members of a union. Many Ohioans have been using their voices to declare their support of collective bargaining, whether that's traveling to Washington, D.C. today for oral arguments, gathering at the Ohio State House over the weekend, talking to their friends and neighbors, or joining us here tonight. I want to thank each and every one of you who's here for being here this evening as leaders of your unions, but even more so for your commitment every day to good jobs and America's middle class. Union membership is a path to the middle class for workers across all sectors in Columbus, and it's as important today as it has ever been. Over the past 40 years, working people have become more productive, yet real wages are declining and CEOs make more than ever before, 347 times more than the average employee. When people stick together in unions, they gain the power in numbers to raise wages and improve benefits like health care. Union membership gives people, particularly women and people of color, a powerful voice to advocate for themselves, their families, and their communities. And it ensures that they are treated with dignity and respect at work. And this advocacy has results. It works. People working collectively in unions have won protections like the 40-hour work week, overtime pay, health and safety standards. They've advanced policies like paid family leave and earned sick time, and they've actually reduced the gender pay gap. The gender pay gap for union members is mere pennies, while it's 78 cents on the dollar across the whole country. It also helps narrow the race wage gap. African American union members earn 14.7% more than their non-union counterparts. When people can negotiate together for higher wages and safer, dignified working conditions, all of us benefit across our whole city. Our communities are stronger. Our entire economy is made more fair. Ohioans and Columbus residents understand this. They have even voted that way at the ballot box. All of you remember in 2011 when collective bargaining rights for public employees were on the ballot in the form of Senate Bill 5. By a 2/3 majority, Ohioans voted to repeal Senate Bill 5 and uphold your collective bargaining rights and collective bargaining rights of all workers. Columbus is a stronger city when every citizen has the opportunity to earn a living wage and family supporting benefits. Union membership is one of the key ways that working men and women gain access to that opportunity. This resolution tonight is a statement from City Council that we support the freedom of all workers everywhere to exercise their right to collectively bargain and form a union. We are encouraging the Supreme Court to consider the clear public benefit of union participation in the United States as they render their decision. Before I turn it over to Vice President Fry from AFSCME, I would like to give any of my colleagues the opportunity to add anything. All right, so Vice President Amy Fry is representing all of AFSCME internationally here tonight in Columbus as Janus versus AFSCME 31 is heard. So if you could please step to the microphone if you have anything you'd like to add.
Okay. Good evening. On behalf of AFSCME Local 1632, I would like to personally thank you, President Hardin, you, President Pro Temp Stenziano, and Councilmember Elizabeth Brown for this amazing recognition tonight. AFSCME Local 1632 is extremely grateful and honored for the continuous support and generosity of City Council in relation to the freedom of all city employees exercising their right to a voice and dignity on the job through joining together in a strong and vibrant union. For without a strong union, there would be no 40-hour work week, no overtime pay, no paid leave, nor decent health care benefits. Also, there would be no power to bargain for higher wages and no way to improve working conditions, amongst many other things. In the event we do receive an unfavorable decision in the Janus case, the union will remain strong and continue to fight the fight because we are AFSCME Local 1632 and we never quit. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'd also like to give our other union leadership who's here, starting with President Pappas of FOP Lodge 9, if you'd like to add anything. You don't have to. And President Montgomery? Okay. And Treasurer Susan Ayler from CWA Local 4502.
Thank you, Councilmember Brown. My name is Susan Ayler, and I'm the Treasurer for the Communication Workers of America, Local 4502. I'm here this evening on behalf of Local 4502 President Dave McCune and the over 1,450 highly skilled, dedicated city employees in our bargaining unit. President McCune was unable to attend in person because he is in Washington, D.C. at the Supreme Court with his fellow union presidents and many of our brothers and sisters. President McCune asked me to extend his sincere gratitude to every member of City Council for supporting this resolution, and also to Mayor Ginther for his support of strong unions. The Janus case is part of a larger effort to destroy the labor movement. The attack on labor unions and their members is occurring at a time of economic inequality unseen in the United States since the 1920s. Weakening organized labor won't help working people or the most vulnerable in our community. It will only benefit the few who already have so much. By supporting collective bargaining and strong unions like CWA Local 4502, regardless of the outcome of Janus, members of City Council are standing up for all working people in our city and for a more just and equal United States. President McCune and our entire membership look forward to working with each of you on our shared goals and vision now and in the future. Thank you.
We also have the president of CEA, the Columbus Education Association, Tracy Johnson, if you'd like to say anything.
Good evening. Thank you, members of City Council. On behalf of the 4,200 members of the Columbus Education Association, I say thank you. Thank you for recognizing the work that labor does on behalf of our families and the community. We know that strong unions really mean a strong economy, and a strong economy means strong communities, and strong communities means a strong city. And so without labor, the city of Columbus cannot thrive. So thank you for acknowledging the work that we do, and thank you for standing in support of labor and collective bargaining.
And with one more word of thanks specifically to our union presidents here in the city of Columbus, that our union members make our city run, and we truly are in your debt every day. So thank you very much from your city council. And with that, I will move for adoption.
Second.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Thank you, President Harden. I have two announcements this evening. First, I would like to recognize and thank the community for their support of the First Responders Face-Off last Saturday. The event raised over $25,000 in donations. These donations will benefit a fund for the families of fallen public safety personnel. I'd also like to recognize our first responders for the work they do every day to ensure the safety and security of our residents. With fire winning again this year, I wouldn't be surprised if Chief Jacobs adds an ice rink to her capital budget request, Director Lombardi. And I'm sure you'll take a real stern, hard look at that, correct? Thank you, sir. Also, I would like to announce that they will be hosting a Public Safety Committee hearing this Thursday, March 1st, to discuss the taxicab moratorium. The hearing will take place here in City Council chambers at 4:30. Public testimony will be accepted. Please complete public speaker slips prior to the hearing. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Brown. Councilman Remy?
All right. I'd like to invite Bob Gable, Directors Ehringer, and Brad Bales to the podium at this time as we introduce Resolution 0048X 2018. Passed in 1968, the Ohio Scenic Rivers Act embodies Ohioans' commitment to the preservation of the nature and the wildlife that relies on it. Upon passage, the legislation encouraged environmental awareness among Ohio residents and organizations while promoting the creation of active protection and beautification programs across the state. As the first Scenic Rivers Act in the country, Ohio set the precedent for creating and promoting legislation that protects bodies of water, recognizing the environmental and aesthetic impacts of clean waterways. I am proud that the residents of Columbus and Ohio continue to preserve the beauty of our rivers and creeks. This City Council recognizes the importance of environmental consciousness and urges Columbus residents to remain aware of their footprint and actively engage in the beautification and preservation of nature's landmarks, Ohio's rivers, and lakes. This is why Council is proud to celebrate and commemorate the 50th anniversary of the passage of the Scenic Rivers Act. Are there any comments from my colleagues this evening?
I just want to welcome you all to Chambers. I believe for some of you it's the first time you've been here, and really, as Chair Remy pointed out, just how important this anniversary is, how our waterways and the impact they have, not only for scenic, but for our communities and the pride that everyone takes. This is a wonderful anniversary, and appreciate your all's leadership to continue to be good stewards of the scenic waterways. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. If there are no other comments before we move to comments from them, I'll ask for passage. Move for passage.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Thank you, sir. The floor is yours.
Well, thank you so much, President Harden and all the council members. Thank you for giving us this resolution. Like you mentioned, Councilman, it is an honor to be part of the 50th anniversary, and we're really proud what the city of Columbus has done with what they've done with the Big Darby and the Olentangy Scenic Rivers, and what they do to keep the watersheds clean around the city of Columbus, and always working together with us out at ODNR. I do want to give a shout out to Councilman Remy. We've been in the Northland area since 1974, ODNR, and it's a privilege to work with you up in that area. So thank you so much, and we look forward to this 50th anniversary, which we'll be celebrating, I believe, Wednesday at the State House. Thank you.
Councilmember Page? President Pro Tem.
Thank you, President Harden. I've got a couple guests, but do want to start with a public service announcement to some extent. The Columbus Department of Public Utilities is warning customers of a scam demanding payment for services. The caller ID shows the call is coming from the customer service line of 614-645-8276. The scammers then demand payment and to call 855-472-7249. Again, if you're getting a call requesting payment, to call 855-472-7249. That is something our Columbus customer service representatives would never do and would never demand payment. So if you receive one of those calls, we do ask that you please contact the Columbus Police at the non-emergency number 614-645-4545 or your local law enforcement agency. And again, I will share the Columbus Police non-emergency number 614-645-4545 if you receive that or think you have received a scam. Next, I would like to invite Franklinton Area Commissioner and Executive Director of the Franklinton Board of Trade, Trent Smith, to come forward and share what actions and process the Board of Trade has been undertaking through community discussions, seeking some community-oriented solutions to address homelessness in the Franklinton community.
Thank you very much, Council President Pro Tem Stenziano. I really appreciate you inviting me to speak. Council President Harden, all other council members, City Attorney Klein. My name is Trent Smith, and I'm the Executive Director of the Franklinton Board of Trade. I am also a resident of Franklinton, and as you mentioned, the chairperson for the Franklinton Area Commission. I stand before you tonight as the Executive Director of the Franklinton Board of Trade to discuss a very serious issue with which our community is struggling. Panhandling and homelessness have been present and pervasive in Franklinton for a long time, but it has reached a point where we need new solutions. Acting in our advocacy role as an organization, the Board of Trade hired a public relations firm, Public Square Initiatives, to conduct stakeholder surveys and interviews to find out what people in Franklinton thought of these issues. This started in response to significant problems that were being faced by a relatively new business new retail business in Franklinton. They are not different from the ones that have been experienced by longtime businesses for many years. Aggressive panhandling, public intoxication, public indecency, human waste, litter, and hypodermic needles strewn around the parking lots of businesses and sidewalks are just some examples of the significant challenges. 30 face-to-face interviews took place and 50 online survey responses were received during this process. We talked to a wide variety of neighborhood stakeholders, ranging from businesses to homeless advocates to residents to churches to other nonprofits. We held a public meeting on October 25th, 2017, in which 75 people participated. Public Square Initiatives then supplied us with an executive summary of the process, which included recommendations for moving forward. We held an additional meeting on February 1st, 2018, in which 45 people participated, and I want to specifically thank Council President Pro Tem Stenziano and Council members Elizabeth Brown and Jiza Page for attending. We're sending representatives. I appreciate your attendance in that meeting. I won't stand here tonight and suggest we know exactly what to do next, but we have ideas we'd like to share. They range from adding outside security patrols to assist the police in identifying and monitoring problem spots and bad actors, to modeling examples set by other cities around the country to employ homeless and get them in better situations. I am aware of programs like this working in Schenectady, New York, Albuquerque, New Mexico, and Fort Worth, Texas, just to name a few. We absolutely understand that not all homeless people are causing problems, but the challenges to businesses and residents is significant and growing. We also are not naive to think that there will be any magic silver bullet to fix these conditions. Many people have come before us trying to address this issue, and I have several colleagues in other neighborhoods who currently face the same challenges. But what we do know, without any doubt or disagreement from any side of this debate, is that what we have right now is not working for anyone. It's not good for existing businesses and residents. It's not good for our efforts to attract new businesses and residents to Franklinton, and it is certainly not good for the homeless population at the center of this issue. Several business owners and neighborhood stakeholders who support the Board of Trade's efforts, as well as trustees from my governing board, are here tonight, and I am grateful for their support. Some of the ideas generated from this process have been implemented, but others will require way more money and resources and support than we have at our disposal as a small nonprofit. We are not looking to put this problem in someone else's backyard. We want to fix our backyard. Therefore, we look forward to partnering with you to implement creative and innovative ways to improve this situation for everyone and keep all of Franklinton on the path to revitalization. Again, I sincerely appreciate being invited to address City Council about this important neighborhood issue. Thank you.
Thank you, Trent. Do any colleagues? Councilmember Tyson?
Thank you, Councilmember Stenziano. Trent, I would certainly like to get some of the data that you guys from your focus groups or just your discussion as to some ways that we can deal with this issue. Obviously, people are allowed to panhandle, but I also think that there are many individuals who are homeless that if they are homeless, they go to a shelter, they're out during the day. Mm-hmm. And so consequently, I think we have to begin to think about what kind of activities can they be a part of mm-hmm. during the day. It won't solve everything, but I think that all these issues, but I think that when the people don't have a place to go during the day and they don't have a job, then they will be on the streets. So I would, again, appreciate having a conversation with you because I chair the shelter board, but I would like to have a conversation. I think many of my colleagues have certainly heard from other areas where individuals are on the streets and panhandling. And so I think we have to come up with a comprehensive plan, working with the administration and the community to be able to solve this issue.
I agree, and I appreciate those comments. I've talked to Mount Carmel Outreach, Steve Skavinsky from the YMCA, and also Sarah Loken from the Community Shelter Board about some of these likely solutions that could be a possibility. And certainly we understand that not all homeless people are going to want this opportunity to work or are going to be able to take advantage of the opportunity to work. But certainly, even if it's a small percentage, we want to be able to reach out and try to reach as many of them as we can so that we can solve the overall problem. So I appreciate that, and I will look forward to that conversation.
And I'll add this, that, it's not always about working. Some of them have other issues that may even prevent them from working, but how do we help them? So I look forward to working with you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Tyson. And I think the commitment remains on behalf of council to work with you, with your members, and with the community as a whole. Have really appreciated the very thoughtful and deliberate process that you've engaged residents and businesses with, and we look forward to continuing to find solutions, not only maybe recommended or other ones we haven't even thought of yet.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trent.
Thanks very much.
And the last guest I have tonight, President Hardin, I would like to invite Age-Friendly Columbus Director Katie White and Bill Armsbrudder, Senior Advisor for AARP's Age-Friendly Communities, the U.S. affiliate for the World Health Organization, to come forward to the podium. And it looks like they're also bringing their secret muscle, Fran Ryan, who is co-chair of Age-Friendly Columbus. We had a special event this morning, joined by President Hardin, Departments of Recreation and Parks Director Collins and Director Shoney from Development, and many others for the Age-Friendly Columbus ribbon cutting ceremony to celebrate the opening of this new office at the Blackburn Community Center. The opening of offices is the next step in supporting Columbus's aging community in order to create a city where citizens of all ages and abilities will be able to flourish. I am confident that Age-Friendly Columbus is truly setting a foundation that can be used as an example not only for our region or state, but across the nation, how a city can be truly age-friendly by leveraging partnerships and some wonderful leadership, such as co-chair Ryan. With that, Katie and Bill, welcome to Chambers, and the floor is yours.
Thank you. And it's my honor to be here today to present City Council with their certificate of completion of the first phase of becoming a more age-friendly community. And I have to thank you for your leadership here. 6 of the 7 members actually chaired working groups and subcommittees on this, the support of the mayor's office, department heads, the opportunity to provide funding to support this initiative and actually come to fruition, the Blackburn Community Center, the age-friendly innovation housing. I think this is what a community really has an opportunity to look for. I think you are leading the nation in this work. I think your leadership is there, from doing exchanges to New York City, and now Columbus is going to be the destination of other communities from around the country to learn how to do it right. Columbus was the 64th community to come into this network. We are now up to 215 communities representing over 68 million Americans. And there'll be one more community officially joining tomorrow, which will be my honor to be there with the County Commission as Franklin County joins the network as well. So again, I want to just take this opportunity and to follow up on what Councilmember said on the culture of collaboration here. This is what it truly means. Many communities are making city plans. You make a community plan. So we look forward to the great things that are to come from Columbus. And again, it's our honor to present you with this certificate. Do you want to give that to him?
Thank you. It is my honor to accept and really have appreciated all of Council's ongoing engagement. We take a lot of pride in the work that MORPC kind of helped set the foundation for, and look forward to working with Katie and knowing that Fran will never let an opportunity go by where we are not looking out for the seniors throughout the city. So thank you for the certificate. I know, Bill, you are all over the country, and so really appreciate the time you took to be here to personally present this. Thank you all, and look forward to continuing to work together. That's all I have.
Councilmember Tyson.
Thank you. I have one resolution this evening, and I'm going to ask Jody Skinner to come to the podium, please. And this is a resolution 0050X-2018, and it's to recognize March as the Bleeding Disorders Awareness Month in the city of Columbus. Whereas bleeding disorders are characterized by a group of health conditions that result from blood not being able to clot properly, with hemophilia and von Willebrand disease being the most recognized. And whereas it is estimated that between 1.5 and 4 million women have a bleeding disorder in the United States. It is also believed that 2 million women, approximately 2 million women, have a bleeding disorder and are unaware that they have it. Whereas von Willebrand disease is the most commonly inherited bleeding disorder. It is caused by deficiencies or defects in the blood. It is characterized by heavy menstrual periods in women, easy bruising, bleeding for long periods of time after surgery or dental work, and heavy bleeding after the birth of a child. It should also be noted that an estimated 1% of the world's population has VWD. However, it takes an average of 16 years to diagnose this. Whereas hemophilia is a well-known but rare bleeding disorder caused by an inherited genetic mutation running in some families, impacting an estimate 1,350 residents in the state of Ohio. Whereas a number of individuals with hemophilia have been infected with the human immune deficiency virus, HIV, and hepatitis C during the 1980s due to the contamination of the blood supply and blood products. Now, that's not normally the case today, but that was happening in 1998. Whereas bleeding disorders, 1980, I'm sorry, whereas bleeding disorders and the resulting morbidity and mortality can be reduced with the appropriate care and access to comprehensive medical resources, leading to healthier, productive lives. And whereas Bleeding Disorders Awareness Month was first recognized by President Ronald Reagan as Hemophilia Awareness Month in March of 1986. Whereas the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, under the leadership of President Barack Obama, formally included an annual national health observance of Bleeding Disorders Awareness Month in March of 2016. Whereas the aim of the Bleeding Disorders Awareness Month is to foster a stronger sense of unity and shared purpose among individuals with inherited bleeding disorders. It is also designed to increase awareness and engagement within the community, ultimately leading to the prevention of illness and unnecessary procedures and reduced disability. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the City of Columbus that this council does hereby recognize March as Bleeding Disorders Awareness Month in the City of Columbus. And I move for adoption.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Adopted.
Thank you. The floor is yours, Ms. Skinner.
Well, I would like to thank the council for adopting this resolution. I have a 16-year-old son with severe hemophilia B. I have a family history of hemophilia where I have lost an uncle to hepatitis C and another uncle to HIV due to tainted blood products in the 80s. But we tirelessly advocate. I advocate on a local and a federal level for basic health benefits for all, but especially for people in the bleeding disorder community, which it's necessary since it is such an expensive condition to treat. My son, luckily, he is able to receive prophylaxis to prevent unnecessary bleeding, and so it's very near and dear to my heart, along with several hundred people in the Columbus area. So I do appreciate you for helping bring awareness to this, to the bleeding disorder community. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Skinner, for coming down and bringing this to the attention of our office. I certainly know a lot about bleeding disorders and have in the same area that my son has been treated in. Certainly, there are a number of hemophiliacs within that area. So I thank you for coming down again and bringing this to our attention, and just really thank you as a mother because I know how difficult when you have a family member that has any significant medical condition, how difficult that can be. And so I thank you for your advocacy on behalf of individuals that have bleeding disorders. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. This evening, I would like to invite Mr. Jim and Bob Lormer down to the podium. Tonight, I have Resolution 0039X-2018 to recognize the 30th anniversary of the Arnold Classic and the Arnold Sports Festival taking place March 1st through March 4th. As we all know, the Arnold Sports Festival was founded in 1989 by bodybuilder and film star Arnold Schwarzenegger and local businessman James Lormer. The Arnold has grown over the years into the largest multi-sport event in the world, and athletes and participants from over 80 nations join us here in Columbus for the Arnold. It is the city's largest annual convention and will generate an estimated $51.4 million in economic impact. It is really an honor for our city to be a host for such an event. It is exciting to have the brains of this and who created this so long ago here before us as we celebrate really the significance of what this convention means to our city. We are very appreciative of the impact. I was reading in the resolution that when we were doing it, that 21,000 athletes compete. It's amazing. And we're certainly excited. Before I turn the podium over, do any of my colleagues have any comments? President Pro Tem.
Any questions about pole dancing?
Thank you, President Harden. No questions about that, but just really want to thank you for the ongoing commitment to the city of Columbus. I know 30 years ago we weren't quite the city we are now, and look forward to continuing that collaboration and appreciate the commitment that you all have continued to make, the growth and just the diversity of programs. I know there's going to be wonderful youth activities this weekend and a whole gambit of other events occurring. And just on behalf of the city, thank you all for your ongoing leadership and commitment to Columbus.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, President Harden. Also, to acknowledge that we just ended the Winter Olympics, and I have to tell you, having been involved with the Arnold for many, many years, how special it is for all the diversity that we bring to the city with regards to the athletes. When you talk about the numbers, we can compete, believe it or not, with the Olympics. That's how special the Arnold has become over the years, and I truly appreciate the fact that you continue to work with the city of Columbus. Thank you.
Good. Good. Thank you.
Mr. Lormer serves as CEO, as president, and serves as president. Is that correct? Correct. All right. Well, yes, sir. I would like to turn the podium over to you.
Yes, he runs the international aspect of what we're doing. And,
Wow.
President Hardin, members of City Council, I thank you very much for this greatly appreciated resolution and honor. With the support of the great city of Columbus, we have been building the Arnold Sports Festival here for 4 decades, 42 years. It has become what we believe to be the largest multi-sport event in the world. This coming weekend, we will be hosting more than 21,000 athletes. The Olympic Games host 10,000 athletes. They will be competing in 78 events. The Olympic Games have 30 events. We will have competitions in 13 Columbus facilities. Some 200,000 people will be visiting our city from 80 nations, and we will become filling all the convention center and all of the expo center, as you know. But the growth of this sports festival would not have been possible without the substantial support of the city of Columbus, its great leaders, and the thousands of our city's sports and fitness enthusiasts. The Arnold Sports Festival, as I mentioned, is now presented on 6 continents. What has started here has gone around the world, with my son, Bob Larimer, guiding this international expansion. The latest, the largest, and best sports festival is right here in Columbus, and will always be here in Columbus. We invite you to come out this weekend, bring your families, participate in any one of the events, whether it be the Highland Games, arm wrestling, or pole dancing, as we say. There's something for everything. There's a huge kids fitness expo, kids and teens fitness, out at the fairgrounds, in which we provide training from 24 sports for the young people who come in. The youngster comes in and maybe never used an epi, and they say, that looks like fun. And perhaps they go to one of the 16 Olympic events which we host here. So we thank you again for this recognition and for your great support. Right.
Thank you so much. Like we said, we're so proud to have this event in our city. It is now synonymous with Columbus, and we are so excited to have this relationship going into the future. With that, I move for passage. Clerk, call the roll.
Brown, Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Nice to meet you.
Are there any comments from our elected officials? Ms. Treasurer, City Attorney, I see Judge Barrows is here. Welcome to council. All right. We have, is that Frank Clinton, Area Commission here? Thank you so much for being here. Are there any other requests by members of council for removal of ordinance or resolutions from the consent agenda or portions of the agenda? Seeing none, may we now have a motion to waive reading of the titles of 30-day legislation by the clerk?
Brown, Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Will the clerk now read into the record the ordinance number of 30-day legislation on tonight's agenda for first reading?
Finance Committee, Ordinance 521-2018, Recreation and Parks Committee, Resolutions 21X, 23X-2018, and Ordinances 202, 452, 453, and 454-2018. Public Service and Transportation Committee, Resolution 33X-2018, and ordinances 485 and 488-2018. Economic Development and Small Business Committee, ordinances 520 and 529-2018. Judiciary and Court Administration, ordinances 319, 358-2018. Neighborhoods Committee, Ordinance 518-2018. Technology Committee, Ordinance 344-2018. Public Utilities Committee, Resolution 35X-2018, and ordinances 354, 384, 387, 416, 427, 429, 446, and 475-2018. Health and Human Services Committee, Ordinance 505-2018. Zoning Committee, Ordinances 542, 581, 590-2018, and Ordinance 2852-2017.
The following ordinances appear on our agenda as consent actions. Will the clerk now read the ordinance numbers of each into the record?
Resolutions of expression 38X, 30X, 42X, 45X, 46X, and 47X-2018. Finance Committee, ordinances 293, 348, 400, 411, 413, 426, 439, and 491-2018. Recreation and Parks Committee, ordinances 460 and 479-2018. Public Safety Committee, ordinances 241, 242, and 501-2018. Public Service and Transportation Committee, ordinances 323, 402, and 449-2018. Environment Committee, Ordinance 423-2018. Economic Development and Small Business Committee, Ordinances 343, 445, 490, 507, 548, and 577-2018. Housing Committee, Ordinances 493, 494, 495, 496, 497, 498, 537, 538, and 539-2018. Judiciary and Court Administration Committee, Ordinance 316-2018. Technology Committee, Ordinances 232, 263, 278, 304, 346, 366, and 371-2018. Public Utilities Committee, Ordinances 229 and 312-2018. Health and Human Services Committee, Ordinance 122-2018. Appointments from the Mayor's Office numbered A0012, 31, 32, 57, 58, 59, 60, 62, 63, 65, and 66-2018.
May I have a motion for approval of these items designated as consent? Clerk, call the roll by voice.
Ms. Brown? Mr. Brown? Ms. Page?
Yes, with the
Mr.
exception
Reamy?
of
Oh, excuse me, go ahead.
of 0423-2018, on which I am abstaining.
Mr. Reamy? Yes. Mr. Stenziano? Yes. Ms. Tyson?
Yes.
President Harden?
Yes. Ordinance passes. Consent agenda passes. We will now proceed with the second reading of 30-day tabled and emergency legislation. The first committee that comes before the council is Public Service and Transportation. Councilmember Remy chairs. Councilmember, the floor is yours.
Thank you, President Harden. Tonight in Public Service and Transportation Committee, we have ordinance number 0421, 2018, to amend the 2017 capital improvements budget to authorize appropriation and expenditure within the Streets and Highway Go Fund, to authorize the Director of Finance and Management to associate all general budget reservations resulting from this ordinance with the appropriate universal term contract purchase agreement for pavement materials and aggregates, to authorize the Director of Public Service to establish purchase orders with SWACO for tipping at the SWACO landfill for debris related to this project, to authorize the Director of Public Service to expend $2,177,048.95 or so much thereof as may be necessary to reimburse the Street Construction Maintenance and Repair Fund for personnel and equipment associated with the alley rehabilitation project, to buy required commodities and pay tipping fees, and to declare an emergency. If there are no questions from my colleagues, I move for passage by voice vote.
Ms. Brown? Mr. Brown? Yes. Page? Remy?
Yes.
Stenziano? Yes. Tyson?
Yes.
President Harden?
Also tonight, I have ordinance number 0461, 2018, to amend the 2017 capital improvement budget to authorize and direct the city auditor to transfer cash and appropriation within the Streets and Highways Bond Fund, to authorize the Director of Public Service to enter into contract with the G&G Cement contractors in connection with the resurfacing 2017 concrete rehabilitation project, to authorize the expenditure of up to $2,367,066.57 from the Streets and Highways Bond Fund to pay for this project and to declare an emergency. If there are no questions from my colleagues, I move for passage.
Please call the row.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Pass.
That's all I have tonight in public service, sir.
Thank you, Chair Remy. The next committee to come before council is the Economic Development and Small Business Committee. Councilmember Jiza Page is chair. Councilmember, the floor is yours.
Thank you, President Harden. This evening, we have ordinance 0443-2018 to authorize the Director of the Department of Development to enter into an economic development agreement with Perry Street LLC concerning the redevelopment of 21 acres of real property located primarily at the southwest corner of West 5th Avenue and Perry Street, and to declare an emergency. We do have Patrick Jarvis, Senior Vice President of Marketing and Communications at Battelle, with us this evening, and if you could come down to the podium and share some additional information with us about this legislation. But I would also like to add that this project is expected to include 311 multifamily rental residential units, 200 senior living units, 32 single-family townhomes, 42 single-family residential homes, a hotel, and up to 46,000 square feet of retail and restaurant space, as well as structured parking, and a public park and an open space amenities. Patrick, thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Very welcome. Thank you, Councilmember Page, Council President Harden, and other members of council for the opportunity to comment on this project. Battelle is very supportive of this development for a number of reasons. We believe that the team working on the project has brought forth a very compelling mixed-use development plan that's going to unlock tremendous potential for the city, for the neighborhood, and for Battelle. When complete, it's going to help Battelle and other companies attract more talent into the neighborhood, including engineers, researchers, and scientists that we recruit from across the country. The large amount of green space included in the project will immediately provide the residents of Harrison West with additional public green space, and broadly the residents of the city of Columbus an enhanced bike path which will provide more connectivity north and south. When the sale of the land is complete, Battelle will use the proceeds to begin preparation for renovations and modernization of our main campus just to the north. That campus has evolved over 90 years, and some of it is showing its age. We're in the planning phase right now, and later this year, we would like to partner with the City of Columbus in this campus revitalization project by making additional investments in our site, including the removal of a large building which will bring our campus further back from the neighborhoods. We then would like to begin interior renovations to our office space and laboratory space so that we can work to grow our business. Right now, federal contracting, which is our main business at Battelle, has been in a very difficult business cycle. We believe that this neighborhood development will be a benefit to our future operations. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you so much, Patrick. Are there any questions? President Pro Tem Stenziano.
Thank you, Madam Chair. No question. Just really wanted to thank your all's work with Harrison West. I know when there was initial discussion, there were some concerns, and really compliment you all in working with the neighbors for a solution that I think at the end of the day is very win-win. So thank you all for continuing to be a partner with the neighbors and for your leadership in working with the neighbors on this first stage.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Director, do you have any additional comments?
Thank you, Chair Page, President Harden, members of council. One question that's going to come up on this, and I know I've talked to each of you individually, but I'll go ahead and address it, is we do have commitments from the development team to include affordable housing within the project. This project came along, we've been working on this project for about, let's call it 18 months in terms of getting to this point. The affordable units that we are requiring out of this project are in line with, but not entirely consistent with the new policy that we announced last month. This is one of a very, very few number of legacy projects that we're still working through. We're very comfortable within the administration that this is completely consistent with where we're going and the direction that we're going in terms of being able to incorporate affordable housing into our mixed-use projects that we're doing. We're very excited about the project, but I did want to address that one issue with you all head on.
Thank you, Director. Are there any additional questions or comments? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
And my final ordinance this evening, 0506-2018, of which I am co-sponsoring with President Pro Tem Stenziano as well as Council Member Elizabeth Brown, to authorize the Director of the Department of Development to enter into contract with Place Dynamics LLC for the purpose of conducting the Hilltop Retail Market Analysis and Small Business Opportunity Study, to authorize the appropriation of $25,000 from the Neighborhood Initiative Subfund of the General Fund to the Department of Development, to authorize the expenditure of $55,000 from the 2018 General Fund and to declare an emergency. I would now like to give the floor to President Pro Tem Stenziano.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you to a number of folks for this ordinance tonight. I see Nancy Reinhard with the Hilltop Business Association, and we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for your leadership and for the Business Association's desire to see some investment in this market analysis. I do want to thank Director Shoney and his team and kind of challenging me and the association to not just have an analysis that's going to sit on the shelf, but really to collaborate and find something that is going to be attractive to potential entrepreneurs and businesses that will really help this corridor. And as Chair Page mentioned, the leadership of Councilmember Brown for her stepping up and being part of those early discussions, helping shepherd and work with the Department of Development on what could be a robust and a plan that is really going to invest in these neighborhoods, that's going to help change and find solutions for this important community throughout our city. I think that's what we have before us. At the beginning, the HBA was looking for professional analytical services from a qualified contractor to evaluate existing and proposed market opportunities for new and emergency small businesses such as retail, food service, and other sectors of the Hilltop. I think showing our ongoing commitment as a council and as a city is supporting and encouraging development throughout Columbus, and I think this analysis will do that with a strong focus throughout the Hilltop neighborhood. So really appreciate everyone's leadership to get us here today, and also excited that upon passage, this analysis will begin immediately. I don't know if you have any comments as well, Councilmember Brown.
Thank you, President Pro Tem, and thank you, Chair Page, for introducing this. My only comment is I want to add my thanks in particular to all of the above co-sign, but I also want to add my thanks to Nancy Renard and the department for problem solving the right way to do this. And Nancy, when you came to us to talk about the need for this, you really came to us not just telling us something that you wanted to see, happen. You said, how can I be a part of creating a solution that works for this neighborhood and works for the department and is feasible for the city? So I appreciate that very, very much, and I think that's why we're able to pass something tonight. So thank you, President Pro Tem and Chair Page.
Again, many thanks, President Pro Tem, as well as Councilmember Elizabeth Brown. If there are no further questions or comments, I move for passage.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Passed.
And that's all I have.
Thank you, Chair Page. The next committee to come before council is the Health and Human Services Committee. Councilmember Tyson chairs that committee. Councilmember, the floor is yours.
Thank you. The first ordinance I have tonight is ordinance number 0489-2018. It's to authorize and direct the Board of Health to enter into a contract with WBNS TV, Inc. to continue a public awareness campaign to address obesity in Central Ohio, and to authorize the total expenditure of $75,000 from the Health Special Revenue Fund, and to waive the competitive bidding provisions of the Columbus City Codes, and to declare an emergency. The 10 TV Commit to Be Fit campaign is the only media-driven public awareness campaign in Central Ohio developed to improve the health of our community. As such, it is an excellent asset for the City of Columbus in educating and informing residents to protect their health and improve their lives. The Multimedia Health Campaign features Health Commissioner Dr. Mashika Roberts and 10 TV's Yolanda Harris. Columbus Public Health will be featured in 4 30-second commercials over 12 months on topics such as the flu shots. Well, all of you have been seeing the flu shot commercials. We're almost out of flu season. Staying active in Columbus, eating healthy snacks, and an hour of a day to play for kids. Also, some of the other, we're in partnership with Metro Parks, the YMCA of Central Ohio. And if there are no questions or comments, I move for passage.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Pass.
Thank you. And the next and my final ordinance is ordinance number 0499-2018 to authorize and direct the Board of Health to accept a grant from the Franklin County Board of Health to provide tobacco cessation services for Columbus, for the Community Cessation Initiative Grant Program in the amount of $26,000, to authorize the appropriation of the $26,000 to the Health Department's Grants Fund, and to declare an emergency. This program is focused on the Baby and Me tobacco-free program, and smoking during pregnancy remains one of the most preventable causes of infant mortality in the City of Columbus. In Franklin County, 20% of all Ohio mothers, or 14.7% of mothers in Franklin County, and 23% of WIC recipients reported smoking before or during pregnancy. Babies exposed to smoke are more likely to be born underweight and have more health problems and can die when they are asleep. So currently, the Baby and Me program in Columbus Public Health remains, again, the only comprehensive program that's specifically designed to increase quit rates during pregnancy through individualized tobacco treatment programs and incentives. In the past year, there were the record number of participants went from 34% to 148, which were 88% of graduates remaining smoke-free through the postpartum period, and had a positive impact on the gestational age and birth weight of their children. This pilot program will focus on 2 groups of women, 4 to 10 women, and their partners will be eligible for group treatment on site at Columbus Public Health. They'll receive $25 vouchers as incentives for those participants and partners who complete all sessions. And so this is really an important program, and some of the partners are the Breathing Association, the Healthcare Collaborative of Columbus. And again, this is about focusing on making sure that our babies can live to see past their first birthdays. So with that, I will ask my colleagues to support this legislation and for passage.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Pass.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Tyson. The last committee to come before council is the Rules and Reference Committee. And I move to introduce ordinance 0640-2018 to find not legally sufficient a petition for a proposed amendment to the Charter of the City of Columbus titled "To Enact Electoral System and Related Administrative Changes to Columbus City Council by amending sections 3, 4, 5, 6, 14, 17, 18, 20, 22, 41, and 46 of the Charter to create 10 city council districts, establish nomination requirements for candidates from districts, provide for election of council members from districts, reduce the number of council members elected at large to 3, regulate growth in council staffing, change the process for midterm appointments to vacant council seats, create term limits, establish contribution limits for council elections, and provide public access television for council elections, and to declare an emergency. City Clerk Blevins previously read into the record a memo from the city attorney. At this time, I'd ask the city attorney to speak to the memo that he forwarded to council members. City Attorney, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Council President Hardin, members of council. As council will recall, in 2014, voters of the City of Columbus overwhelmingly supported changes to the Columbus City Charter. The particular changes that are relevant today are those on how the charter may be amended or changed by a citizen-led effort. Columbus City Charter Sections 42 et sequitur outlines this process and requirements in detail. In essence, we're now at the point in the charter process that is primarily governed by Section 42-9. As required by that section of the city charter, upon the filing of a charter amendment petition, the city clerk is required to forward the part petitions to the elections authorities to validate the signatures on the petition and to the city attorney to advise on the legal sufficiency of the petition based upon any applicable local, state, or federal laws, rules, and regulations. City Charter Section 42-9 further requires that upon the city clerk's receipt of the elections authority's report regarding signature validation, which the clerk has received and stated, and the city attorney's findings regarding legal sufficiency, which I have presented via memorandum, the clerk is to forward the same to City Council forthwith. So here we are today. In determining legal sufficiency as to the form of the petitions, City Charter Section 42-2 is the controlling provision. Failing to comply with the requirements of this section can warrant not placing any proposed charter amendment on the ballot for consideration. That section essentially reads as follows. Each petition for a proposal initiated by the citizen shall comply with the following as to form and with general laws of the state unless otherwise provided by this charter or ordinance of council. A, the petition may be circulated in separate part petitions but shall be uniform in character. B, each part petition shall be circulated and submitted as a single instrument. C, the petition and parts thereof shall be printed in a single uniform color. D, the petition may only contain one proposal, which shall not address multiple or unrelated subject matters or questions of law. E, the title of the proposal shall clearly and without argument describe the proposed charter amendment, and such title shall be placed on top of each page of the petition. F, the petition shall contain a full and correct copy of any proposed charter amendment with no summary, argument, or ancillary information regarding the proposal placed thereon. G, a notice requirement that is printed on each page of the part petition. And H, a circulator statement. The petition before us complies with these form requirements and is legally sufficient, with the notable exception of Section 42-2D, which provides that a petition may only contain one proposal, which shall not address multiple or unrelated subject matters or questions of law. This is commonly known as the single subject rule. In determining compliance with the City Charter Section 42-2D's single subject requirement, an examination includes the Columbus City Charter itself and associated interpretations, as well as the similar state constitutional and statutory requirements. Beginning with the Ohio State constitutional and statutory requirements of the single subject rule, the Ohio Supreme Court has said that a proposal consists of one amendment to the Ohio Constitution only so long as each of its subject bears some reasonable relationship to a single general object or purpose, or put another way, relates to a single purpose or object, and all else contained therein is incidental and reasonably necessary to effectuate the purpose of the amendment. However, when there is an absence of a common purpose or relationship between specific topics in an act, and when there are no discernible, practical, rational, or legitimate reasons for combining the provisions in one act, a petition does not satisfy the single subject requirement. In applying this general guidance on the single subject rule to the charter amendment before us, it is my opinion that this petition violates the single subject requirement. The proposed petition contains numerous separate and distinct topics, including but not limited to the size and geographical representation of council, appointments for council vacancies, campaign finance and contribution limits, term limits, restrictions on the hiring of council support staff, and the use of public access television. There is no practical or rational reason to combine these disparate topics into a single petition, and the inclusion of them all into one petition is likely to lead to voter confusion. Moreover, given the distinct and individual policy proposals being lumped into this single petition, voters fail to get the opportunity to separately decide the individual merits of these different and unrelated ideas. Further, finding the petition to be in violation of the single subject rule is in keeping with prior interpretations and practice. As I previously stated, both City Charter Section 42-2D's single subject requirement as to petition form and Section 42-9's review of legal sufficiency as to petition form were born out of the voter-approved city charter amendments in 2014. Since the adoption of these amendments, single subject determinations have been required in various petition submissions. For example, this petition before us was reviewed pursuant to City Charter Section 42-5 and deemed legally insufficient as to form by my predecessor, City Attorney Richard C. Pfeiffer, for violating the City Charter's single subject petition requirement. Nonetheless, despite this notice, the petitioners proceeded to collect signatures using this flawed petition form. Similarly, the Columbus City Charter has had a single subject requirement since 1914 for legislation introduced and passed by council. Historically, council has taken this requirement seriously and has broken complex legislative actions into discrete ordinances. In demanding no less or no more from the proponents of an initiated charter amendment under the city charter than council has demanded of itself, council would be acting consistently with its own historic approach to the single subject rule, should it determine that this petition violates the charter. Thus, given the past practice of adhering to the city charter's single subject requirement and the deference that exists by the Columbus City Attorney to interpret the Columbus City Charter, I believe that in addition to violating the limitations and restrictions of Ohio's state constitutional and statutory single subject requirements, the petition also fails to comply with the city's own charter requirements of the single subject rule. Columbus has the authority to interpret and a duty to follow its own charter, so as long as in doing so does not run afoul of any federal or state constitutional requirements. In sum, Council President Hardin and members of council, pursuant to the Columbus City Charter, as the Columbus City Attorney, I have the legal obligation to review the submitted petitions for legal sufficiency as to form, and in doing so, I'm required to make a determination as it specifically relates to any violation of the single subject rule. As stated above, the petition addresses multiple and unrelated subject matters. Despite this defect having been identified in former City Attorney Pfeiffer's May 18, 2017 pre-circulation review memorandum, it is my opinion that the proposed petition continues to violate the single subject requirement of the city charter. I believe at this point it's important to note that I made this decision independently of former City Attorney Pfeiffer's previous determination. In fact, I have several lawyers in my office, 3 of whom are new to the City Attorney's office, and 2 of whom are experienced in election law, to independently review this analysis. All agree that the petitions are legally insufficient as to form, and that council may reject forwarding these proposed amendments to the city charter to the Board of Elections for voter consideration. Thank you. Be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, City Attorney. Are there any questions by my colleagues? Seeing none, I move for passage. Clerk, call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Hardin.
Ordinance is passed. Thank you, City Attorney. Thank you, council members. Seeing no further business before this council, may I have a motion to adjourn meeting number 12? Please call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Hardin.
Regular meeting number 12 is adjourned. Zoning meeting will begin at 6:30. We have 5 non-agenda speakers that we'll take momentarily. Regular meeting number 12 will now come to order. Clerk, call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Hardin.
Can I get a motion to dispense with the reading of the journal? Is there a second? Please call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Hardin.
We will now go to the zoning committee. Councilmember Tyson chairs that committee, and the floor is yours, Councilmember.
Thank you very much. The first ordinance, first I'll just say, before beginning the zoning agenda, I'll briefly explain the rules of council as pertaining to speakers before council on zonings and variances. We permit 3 speakers on each side, 3 proponents, 3 opponents, and we ask that they limit their remarks to 3 minutes on each side. We provide an opportunity for rebuttal from the applicant. On the advice of the City Attorney's Office, we ask that anyone here that this evening who wishes to speak either for or against a council variance, including staff, please stand, raise your right hand, and be sworn in. I wish to tell the truth and nothing but the truth. Please answer, I will. I will. Thank you. All right, on ordinance number 0492-2018 to to grant a variance from the provisions of Section 3363.01 M Manufacturing District of the Columbus City Codes for the property located at 3310 Lockbourne Road to conform a existing single-unit dwelling in the M Manufacturing District. The applicant is Teresa Kelly. The proposed use is to conform an existing single-unit dwelling in the M Manufacturing District. The City Department's recommendation is approval. The Far South Columbus Area Commission's recommendation is approval. If there are no questions or comments, I move to amend to emergency.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Brown, Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Amended.
Thank you, and now I move for passage.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Passed.
Thank you. The next ordinance is 0504-2018 to amend ordinance number 1159-2017, passed May 15th of 2017, by repealing Section 3 and replacing it with the new Section 3, thereby modifying the CPD text and site plan to alter the required building setbacks for property located at 1158 West 3rd Avenue. So the ordinance is an amendment. The proposed use is a building expansion and patio addition. The City Department's recommendation is approval, and the 5th by Northwest Area Commission's recommendation is approval. If there are no questions or comments, I move for passage. Move to waive second reading, I'm sorry.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Waive.
Thank you, and I move for passage.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Pass.
Thank you. The next is ordinance number 0264-2018 to rezone 3001 Bethel Road, being 2.43 acres located on the south side of Bethel Road at the intersection of Hayden Run from CPD, Commercial Plan Development District, to LAR1, Limited Apartment Residential District. The applicant is Preferred Living. The proposed use is a multi-unit residential development. The City Department's recommendation is approval. The Northwest Civic Association's recommendation is disapproval at 5-4. Are there any questions or comments? Seeing none, I move to waive second reading.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Waived.
Thank you, and now I move for passage.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Pass.
Thank you. And 0265-2018 is to grant a variance from the provisions of sections 3333.18 building lines, 3333.255 perimeter yard of the Columbus City Codes for the property located at 3001 Bethel Road to permit the development of a 72-unit apartment complex with reduced development standards and the LAR1 Limited Apartment Residential District. The applicant is Preferred Living. The proposed use is a multi-unit residential development. The City Department's recommendation is approval. The Northwest Civic Association's recommendation is disapproval of 5-4. Are there any questions or comments? Thank you. Seeing none, I move to waive second reading.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Waived.
Thank you. Now I move to amend as submitted to the clerk.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Amended.
Thank you. And now I move for passage.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Pass.
Thank you. That's all I have in zoning this evening.
Thank you, Chair Tyson. That is all that we have in this meeting. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
We stand adjourned.
No. No questions.